I didn't want to call it out because obviously, I'm not there, right? Like I'm eating lunch, so I'm not sure what the candle close is going to look like or whatever, but obviously, this is really good momentum up. So you can enter there. We're putting in bullish OBs, respecting bullish PD arrays. So, when you see this, that's a good sign. But yeah, no, your break even here is going to be off the 5 minute time frame. So you're going to watch here, you're going to watch this internal high, and then your actual break even is going to be here, right? At this ITH, because this is the ITH that forms the swing, that forms the FVG that gets inversed, and then this is your newly created swing that got put in here on this candle, and then when we take that, that's your break even. So this is not a break even trade. If you got break even because you were nervous about the chop, I think that's a psychological issue. But maybe what happened was we put in the 5 minute. Wait, when did the 5 minute candle print here? Wait. Oh no. Oh no. Wait, then maybe this was a break even then. Because we start the candle here, go up, hit the high, come back, and then we go up, right? Is that is that what happened to a lot of you, where we formed the new high here and then came up, came back, and got break? That sucks. Okay, well if that happened, that's unlucky, and I think that's a good break even too because it's a high inside this 30 second, so that's fine. But yeah, I'm gonna just say, uh, uh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this break even is really gonna save you though, because like, okay, this is a stupid break even low key because there's no roadblocks in the way here on the 1 minute, and the 1 minute gap gets respected here. I don't know. I feel like this is definitely up to the fisherman here, but I feel like maybe I stay in this trade because I don't think that this play loses until this gap gets violated. Runner targets, well, we just hit the second TP, so final TP would be like maybe this high here, high inside the gap. Target presentation gap, last gap in the leg. Check 3 minute. Still, even with like the BPR there or whatever, it's not obvious. It's not a consequential gap in terms of order flow, right? Like even though it's tiny, right? Like you want to use obvious gaps like something like this, right? When did I start stream? I started at 125 demo, but we were talking in the PM chat. I added everyone and we just had a conversation about this long. Um, I called out a loss here on the 1 minute, and then I said I was taking this 30 second, but it wasn't an alert. And then I said, this 5 minute is an A setup, so you can take it. But I wanted to go eat. I wasn't sure how long I was going to take the trigger, so I know a bunch of people took it, but bare minimum, like there was definitely a winning play here somewhere for like some of you. The reason why I said I liked this 30 second was because we still held the SMT when we got it, and the close below here that caused the fail was only by a tick, so like it wasn't even convincing. And then we ended up holding the 5 minute gap here to the left, which was what was telling us order flow, which was telling us, that this was still going to be, the market maker buy model here. If we would have inversed this, I would have expected a sell model to this low, and then obviously, based on the reaction, whether or not we got a long. Did you get my DM, bro? I messaged you earlier this morning. Let me check. Oh yeah, your voice message. I haven't gotten around to that, so I'll take a look at that. Dang, Fonzo, that's tough. So yeah, where are we at with this trade? Are we saying this is a win? Was this nothing for me because I wasn't on and I wasn't streaming? What are we calling? What are we calling today? I said I was taking the 1 minute loss. It's a win. Okay. I mean, genuinely, if I have like skeptics or like critics here, like be vocal. Like if you don't think this is a call out that I can post in trade recaps, I won't. Okay. I don't think it's a good break even profitable because we talk about when we go to break even, we want to go break even at a point where order flow becomes neutral, right? At what point here does this high getting taken make us neutral, right? Like if we're talking about subjective break even, right? I mean, mechanical break even, sure, it's a mechanical break even, but we want to kind of move away from this mechanicalness that we've been focusing on with the IFG model. That's like what the basics do. We're trying to move to a more advanced student here, right? That's kind of the point of PM. That's what you're paying for. We want to become more advanced. So by focusing on the mechanical break even here, you're kind of reverting back to like the simplistic way to look at it, and this is more of an advanced way to look at it based on, okay, does us taking this high mean price is neutral? I don't really think so. There's not really any roadblock to the left here. If you look at the 3 minute, there's this tiny little BPR, but when we're talking about inefficiencies, we're thinking about it in context of orders. Are there going to be a lot of orders inside of a 2-tick BPR? Like, is there going to be a lot of orders? Yeah, probably not, right? So, like, as far as order flow goes, this doesn't really tell us anything. But I totally like this is like a learning opportunity for sure. If you get break even here, like obviously I wasn't there in live time, so maybe like if we're saying, it's different for each of you, right? And obviously subjectively, like you can kind of make that determination for yourself. But the way that I'm kind of going forward here, as far as going to break even, it's always going to be at a point where price is neutral in terms of order flow, or it's undecided, right? But here, like it's pretty decidedly bullish, right? We come up close over this previous high here. We end up respecting this bullish gap. So order flow is just bullish all the way up here. We're disrespecting bearish PDRAs, respecting bullish ones. I think we just got a little bit unlucky on this 1 minute because this was the trade, I think. Just typical lunch price action BS, right? But, jumping back in on this 30-second allows you to get that little come back and then whatever else. Also, what I also really liked about this 30-second was like you had this lower time frame LRLR that looked pretty algorithmic. It seemed like it made sense to run, kind of like this mornings. If you remember, I was calling out prior to AM or whatever, we had this LRLR here on the lower time frame. It made sense to get a Judas down after open. But yeah. When you do it, it's a dub. When I do it, yeah, this definitely could have been a revenge trade. That's why I said I wasn't alerting it, Trade Boy. So this 30-second trade wasn't a win, but obviously this 5 minute was like the play. Like I don't ever want to like jump in a trade, take a loss, and then be like, okay, guys, I'm jumping back in, okay, right, and like alert that because that's like building bad habits, and like people aren't going to like know why they're jumping back in the trade. They're just going to do it to get back their win. Here, I'm watching this 5 minute the whole time, monitoring that, making sure that it's still a valid market maker buy model. Do you think we could get a short from here? Maybe because we just took out the previous session highs or whatever. But honestly, I think I want to be bullish here because everything is kind of pointing to that. We're continuing to respect bullish PDRAs. So as long as we're respecting bullish PDRAs here, I think I'm going to be bullish. None of these gaps here that we created, these inefficiencies, are going to matter in terms of telling us order flow. The only gap that's going to actually matter for that is probably going to be... What do we think, guys? Little learning opportunity, little quiz time. What gap is going to tell us that we're bearish in terms of lower time frame order flow? Just wondering because we inverse the 4 hour. Yeah, but at the end of the day, we're delivering out of the daily bullish gap. So this is going to trump the 4 hour, like on the higher time frame. The 15 minute, you think? Okay, so the 15 minute that hasn't formed, not quite what I was thinking. The new 5 minute, not quite. 2/3 minute, from when? I need time frames. I think, guys, the gap that's going to tell us we're bearish is here. Unless we come down, respect the 5 minute, and then get a bullish signature in price, right? Like, or even this 15 minute. Like, if we formed this 15 minute, respected it, came up, made a higher high, and then inverse that, then yeah. So the 15 minute that's forming could be the answer, but right now it's this 2 minute that we created at 1250. Yeah. So if we inverse that, I'll definitely be more inclined to be bearish. Ultimately, though, what will tell me that we're probably going to go for this low is if we inverse this 5 minute, because this 5 minute gap has been respected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 times. Right? This 2 minute. The only reason why is because we IO fed the gap and then shot up out of it. So this is the gap that sent price higher. We want to look at significant gaps when determining order flow. So yeah, I'll throw this in trade recaps. Then we'll say PM trade caught in PM chat. I was gonna take the 5 minute, but the 3 minute threw me off. Yeah, when people ask me in chat about the 3 minute, I said that the 5 minute was gonna be the thing that mattered the most. We always want to take the highest time frame, and so we already knew that order flow here was bullish. We were taking this as a continuation play. So remember we talked about two different types of IFEG setups. This has kind of been our fixation for the week. We have our smart money reversal setup, right? And then B, we have our continuation, right? So this was a continuation play. So because we already know that price is bullish here, we don't need to wait for multiple time frame confirmation here. Dave, I got your voice message, but I haven't listened to it yet. What would I want for longs now? Like a pullback to this 15 minute and then a confirmation long. What time did PM chat start? I sent an alert out at, what was it? I think like 12:30. That I was watching this. Vert was already messaging me like before the trade even triggered, and I'm like, yeah, dude, don't worry, I'm watching. But I think because you don't have the PM stream roll payroll, you might have missed it. So next time I'll at mentorship students as well. My bad. Yeah, you can see the chat, but I think the problem is when I at PM stream, you don't get alerted. So you probably missed, when I was saying like, okay, we're watching all this. How can I get added? I will just add mentorship students next time. I don't really want to mess with the mentorship role because it's not really my responsibility. It's kind of dodgy. So, I'll just add mentorship students next time because I think what would have to happen is you would have to get added. Like you would need the PM stream role, which I'm like not gonna go in and manually remove every PM stream person. Yeah, for sure. Did we go over AM trades yet? Not yet, but we will, and we'll talk about all that. I execute on Trade of 8, Royalist. Yeah, I'll add alumni too. Although, wait, alumni get permanent access to PM? Well, I didn't know that. Okay, well, I guess in that case, yeah, I guess every PM will get a lifetime. All right, so we're getting a bit of a pullback here. We haven't formed this 15-minute gap yet. We got another 4 minutes. If we're talking about shorts here, we need like a good draw to pair this with, and I just don't think there's a good draw here because we're targeting like a protected low, right? Our protected low is this 5-minute low here. And then there's just not really anything good here to target. I mean, I guess relative equal lows maybe, but you're targeting. Is there an SMT there? No. Okay, so like I guess you're targeting relative equal lows here. ES just took the high bearish reaction. Oh, we took. Oh. Uh-oh. Wow, yeah, ES is very bullish. I don't know, all-time highs. We long at all-time highs. We're coming off a daily bullish gap, bullish reaction. So higher time frame is definitely bullish. So probably just going to stick with that. 1 minute long. Not until the 15-minute gets tapped, because what's going to happen here is in 3 minutes we're going to get a conflicting draw, and I don't want to long with a conflicting draw below, so I'll just wait. Oh, wow. Okay, we're just not even going to get the 15-minute gap. Is there a bearish inverse here that was valid? Not really. Maybe on a different time frame. Nah, not really. Okay. Yeah, I mean... Okay, now this 15-minute gap is kind of insignificant, so I wouldn't need it to be tapped now. But before, when it was bigger, I would have cared about it a little bit more because it's obvious. So there's a lot of inefficiencies. So yeah, I guess if we rocketed back up, I don't know, I guess the 1 minute in series would be decent, but it's really close to that high. It's not really a good gap for us here. Maybe the 3 minute forming will be good. Dude, holy, like, it's just been nonstop all PM. Like, it's just like, I have so much to talk about. Like, we haven't even gotten to, like, the MFFU stuff yet. Would this be a good eval play? The 3 minute long is probably a good funded play. Like, singular funded, maybe? It's just we're high up now. We've taken out the better draw, so that's the problem. Bottom G already on it. Already saying what I'm saying. Yeah, it's still in, like, discount of the range. I mean, not really. I think we're actually in premium. Because 50% we got hit. Yeah, so it's, like, just at 50. So it's a really weird spot. It's, like, 50-50. Nah, Aegis, there's nothing shady going on with MFFU. They're just changing up the rules. All the old legacy accounts are still there. They're going to be there for a while until the full transition happens. Obviously, you know, 80-20 is horrible, right? Like, the profit split there isn't great, but we're going to talk about why it's really not that bad today. I was doing some math. So I'll prove to you why 80-20 is actually better. Like, the situation around MFFU is better now than it was before. Because we have 5 accounts now to play with. I'm trying to put a spin on the bright side. You know, obviously, you know, losing 20% of your profit sucks. But as far as, like, your spend to your reward, there's a little bit better benefit there. Like, the risk reward there is definitely better. Yeah, the scale accounts look crazy good, actually. That's probably what I'm going to start using from now on because, you know, I think if you haven't used your 50% off code, you can still use it. How are we feeling about this 3 minute? I like it. If we get a nice little V shape, I'll probably take it because there's just no way that this doesn't work for a break even. I mean, maybe if we're super unlucky and we get an SMT with ES, I'll keep an eye on that because if we get an SMT here, it would actually be probably a good time to reverse. Blue line is break even unless we get an SMT with ES. Unless there's some 30-second high inside a gap. Well, yeah, okay, so here's textbook example of what I'm talking about, guys. So normally we go break even like here, right? If we're talking about like the 1 minute or whatnot. But is there any roadblock directly to the left of this 1 minute high? No, right? So where would you go break even? Where price goes neutral, right? So here is actually where you would go break even, this 30-second high inside the gap. Because, you know, maybe we respect the last gap and reject again, right? You know, worst case scenario. How do we feel about this 5 minute? Yeah, I mean, okay. Well, I'd probably still take the 3 minute here, I think. Devil's Mark 2. Yeah, true. Those 30 seconds were Devil's Marks. 2 of them too, which is kind of significant for sure. Right now, no SMT at this low. We're coming down. We might need to tap into this 15-minute. If we get a bullish reaction on this 15-minute, that's a good sign. Dude, holy. I feel like I'm talking at 1,000,000 miles per hour right now. Can you explain why the 3 over the 5? I just like how the 3-minute stop loss is smaller and also the gap is higher up. If you look at the 3 versus the 5 here, you can see that there's a chance where price in versus the 5 but not the 3. So we come up here, like let's say we like had a candle pump up and we closed like here, right? We inverse the 5 but not the 3. So you want to try and make sure all time frames are inversing here, especially when we're this high up in premium and we don't have a good draw. No, trade boy. How much would you risk for 3 evals in MFFU? Depends what size, but usually like 10% of the account per trade. If you have the starters, you can probably just do the eval pass method during NFP or CPI and walk away with a couple evals. And then you don't really have to worry about it. But yeah, I think I just, for once, I feel like I need price and PM to just chill. We're doing a little bit too much right now. You bought the new core accounts and you're going to pass them normally? Yeah, for sure, because the 50% consistency rule. Okay. By the way, you can have 5 accounts on. So if you want to get 2 more, you know, it won't allow you to buy 2 more. They said 5 accounts came out today. I swear, in the announcement, in the post, it said, where does it say it? Yeah, here it is. Okay. 1 simple evaluation, 0 activation fees, 50% consistency, $77 for core plan, tiered payout caps on scale, 80-20 profit split, no daily loss limits, news trading allowed, 550K sim funded max, 100K payout request cap. Okay, so maybe what you need to do is pass the 3 evals, and then you need, once you're funded, you can buy 2 more evals. But yeah, there's the graphic I'm referencing. Okay, so yeah, I guess now is a good time to talk about MFFU. Basically, this is my takeaway that I posted in here. I'm pretty much just going to regurgitate that. But we now have 5 accounts for sim funded. The micro scaling went from 10 to 5 to 1, right? So before, for 1 mini, you used to get 10 micros. Now you get 5 micros, which that's probably my least favorite part of this update because that kind of limits my ability to take, you know, max risk trades. Like if there's a 10 point stop trade, I can't risk my max intended amount until I reach $1,000 in profit. And then once you hit $1,000 in profit, it goes to 10 micros. And then the 80-20 split is bad, but when you factor in the less profit you need to make per account, you actually end up making more money per payout for relatively the same cost. So let me kind of break that down. So before, you would spend $92 per account, okay, and you'd buy 3 accounts, and that would equal about $280, okay? And then for those payouts, so the max limit, okay, you would get, after their 10% cut, $3,240 per payout, okay? And that was after you make $1,300, okay? Because you need to leave a $100 buffer in the account. And this is the minimum amount you can make before a withdrawal, okay? So you make $1,300 copy traded per account. You get to request $3,240, okay? Now it's $66 per account for 50K core. Okay. You can have 5 accounts, and that equals about 330. Okay. And then your payouts, your max limit is 1,000. Okay. But it's 80/20, so it's actually 4,000. Okay. So each payout request, you can request a max of $4,000 after they're cut. And then this is after you make $1,100 per account. Okay. So you request a $1,000 payout per account times 5 accounts. That's $5,000. You lose 1,000 because of the 80/20 split, and you're walking away with 4,000. So all in, you're spending $330 to make $4,000 here versus $280 to make $3,240, and you have to make less profit. Before you had to make $1,300, now you only have to make $1,100. So do you see how it's like actually not that bad? The fact that it's 80/20 now. But you get 50% consistency on evals. Absolutely, yeah, I agree. I don't really. To me, it doesn't really matter. Because the 50% consistency thing, like I trade my evals normally. What I do is if I need to pass a new funded, I will just copy trade the eval with my funded accounts and then just pass them naturally by just like making the profit with my funded. But yeah, if you're somebody that's trying to pass, like do the eval passing method, obviously this sucks for you. 1 minute long, nah. So we've tapped into this 15-minute gap here. I still think I want to use the 3-minute. Yeah, like I just want to see this 1 minute in series get inverse because this is the significant gap. Can you copy trade multiple evals together? Yes. Any advice for passing fast? Just double your risk. So instead of risking 250 per trade, maybe you risk 500, and you just take A plus setups like we normally do. Yeah, I mean 50% is what's normal for like Top Step and whatever. Yeah, you can get a refund if you contact them. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing is too. So remember before how I said it was rumored that there was going to be like, oh, by the way, wait, this is kind of cooking because we have an SMT, huh? Wait. Okay, wait, I might be convinced. This is during the macro. We have the 15-minute. Do I like it enough? It's just not a significant gap that we're inversing. It's only 3 points. But the thing is, this is like the earliest potential entry. Let's just hope it just doesn't trigger. Yeah, exactly. Bottom G. Yeah, Vert. I know it was looking V-shaped. That's why I was like, wait. Maybe I can be convinced. Because before I was like, I don't know. It seems like a low probability inverse, but is there a 5-minute BPR above? Yeah, so that would have been our draw. It would have been hitting this 5-minute, and then that's where you like scale or something. That's why I was like a little bit on board because I was like, wait a minute, order flow is still bullish. We don't really need a significant gap here to inverse. We have the 5-minute as the draw. We're still holding the SMT kinda, but this just feels lower probability. Before, these were like, good candles, right? This is like, Yeah, for sure, Baker. When you break it down into like your spend, because that's what really matters to me. It's like your spend versus your reward. When you break it down, like okay, I'm spending 280 to make 3240 a payout, or I'm spending 330 versus 4K. It's like your ROI here is pretty damn similar. Even though it's 80/20, and you're having to do less work actually. You know, $200 less for even more money. But can I have 5 starter accounts? I don't know if you can have 5 starter accounts because they're getting rid of those accounts. The legacy accounts aren't staying. So this is for like the future. Yeah. For now, yeah, the starter accounts are probably maybe the better deal. I don't know. If like you can still buy starter accounts if you want to. Nah, I just had to take a look at it, really figure out if it was bad. The 80/20 thing kind of threw me, but obviously, when I did the math on the ROI, it still makes sense. But yeah, I wouldn't have gone back to Apex. I just didn't want to say that on stream, obviously, because I don't want to mess with Ryan's money. So there's the 1 minute inverse. Um, you know, I'm not taking it. We'll watch it. 5 minute long. I'd probably take the 3 minutes still here. Yeah. But yeah, like for me, if MFFU would have like really shit the bed with this update, I would have probably switched to like TPT. I think that would have probably been my next prop firm. They seem decent. Maybe I would have done some research on Alpha, figured out if they were an option. Wait, this 1 minute might cook. Oh no, don't do it. Break even for this 1 minute's at this high inside the gap. I thought I was avoiding a loss here, but this SMT holding is kind of making me question things. There's break even. Did we hit a high? Nope, not yet. No roadblocks. I mean, be my guest, Vert. You can go to break even after 4 points. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we'll watch it. I just don't think it's a significant gap, and it didn't 3 candle inverse. So, to me, that tells me there's not as much momentum as we need, I think. What do you think are the cons of Top Step? There's just like better value at other firms, and your payout, the payout process there is worse than MFFU. Like what I like so much about MFFU still is the fact that you can still get 5 days of $100 profit and like get a payout. Like that's crazy. No other firm has it that easy. So what it allows you to do is build confidence as a trader. Like, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can really make money from this, And building confidence is one of the most important things in trading because you want to be a confident trader for all, duh, right? Like there's no explanation. Plus, like you can still make a pretty steady stream of income. I don't know if you guys saw my calendar post, from this month for MFFU, but that's for the month of July. I'm up 2.4K per account. After I pay them 10%, that's like what? 6,500, and we're only 20 days through the month. Like, it's not bad. Like it's a nice steady stream of income, and then you can trade your other prop firm accounts and get a bonus every month, right? Like you can make 100K pretty light. Do they still automatically switch you to live after 30 days? Yeah. So like what I had to do was I had to blow my accounts. I had some reserves. And so like I had to start over because I was at day 27. So I just sent you guys the screenshot of the calendar before I blew the accounts. But yeah, the reason why I did it is because I got that confirmation that it's 100K cap now. So like I'm getting there, but I'm not that close. I'm at like I don't know, I think like 65 or something from when I started back in October or November with them. So I've got a little bit ways to go. Is moving to live bad? It's all right. I don't know. I mean, you have to do it eventually, right? Will they push you to live even when you do not have a payout? No. They'll wait. No, you have to take 5 payouts or 30 days of $100 profit. Which, of course, you're going to take a payout if you have 30 days of $100 profit. You're close to the days, no payout yet. Well, if you have 30 days of $100 profit, then yeah, you might get pushed alive. On MFFU, it's fine. Like you just have to. I can show you actually. If I click on the link, I think it's per account. So there's a. Or sorry, it's on a per user basis. So 100K is the cap per user, and then there's a cap per account. I think the cap per account is like 20K. But yeah, here, let's go to the core. Okay, so if you go to core here and you look, here's the transition to live. This is what happens when you go to live on MFFU. Also, gosh dang it. Well, the 1 minute worked. There's the break even. What about the 5? I think the 3 is the best. It's okay. It's okay. It's going to be a break even trade, guys. Don't even worry. Right? We're going to come back. Yeah, I'm not scaling there, though. I mean, that's like, what, 8 points? You know, who cares? Like, I'm not going to risk 16 contracts on this. Damn, Murmur has a lot of power. He just said shut up and the whole chat stopped talking. Yes, sir. I, sir. Does he even enjoy being here? I don't know. I'm talking to you about it. That it will be a break even. Oh, you're in this? Okay, okay, okay. This short is interesting. I don't know. I'm gonna be married to bullish bias. I think. I don't hate it, Murmar. I think it's a good eval play for sure. I think it's a decent singular funded play, but I'm looking at copy traded play, so that's why I didn't take it. 15-minute IO fed. Yeah, that was the other thing I was looking at with that 1 minute long too. Was the reaction of the 15 there was nice, but it's just like such a small gap and it doesn't appear anywhere else. On ES IO fed, yeah, yeah. Even NQ was kind of an IO fed too. Dug a little deep, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so do we kind of understand MFFU now? This is what happens when you go to live. You get a balance of $2,500 for a core account. Then you have to have a minimum balance of 140 in the account, so really it's 2360, I guess. Then you have a daily loss limit of 900. You can take a minimum payout of 250, and then you have 2 minis, 20 micros, right? And then you get your live allocation after you have 20 winning days, each day with a minimum profit of 4% and receiving 3 payouts. Your initial balance is unlocked. So you get this initial balance after doing this, but you can request payouts daily, I believe, and you know, up to that point. Or maybe you need to do like the original thing, like 5 days of $100 profit. I don't know how it works exactly, but yeah. Yeah, it's a little complicated for live. It definitely gets a little bit complicated for live, but it's pretty easy for funded. So what's the drawdown to move it? 2,500. 2,500 is your starting drawdown. Oh, what's the drawdown? Like, you mean like what's bad about it? You have to pay live fees and you have worse fills. Yeah, for sure, Fahrenheit. If it's not 90-10 for live, I don't think that's worth it. I think I'd rather just do a live account at that point. Or not a live account. Or yeah, I guess you know what I mean. What's the profit before getting funded? What do you mean? Yeah, that's true, Fahrenheit. That's true. That's true. But it has all the risk. Like, this isn't my money. This is Monopoly money. Is it 3K? No, I think it's just the same profit goal as the sim funded. Yeah, that's true. I don't know, psychology. You know, Fahrenheit, there's part of me that's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If I go to a live account, I introduce a lot of emotional factors, right? Like, oh my gosh, you know, this is actually money. Like, this could be rent, this could be whatever. When it's on a prop firm account, it's just Monopoly money, you know? Like, I'm not even really thinking about it, and maybe that's like my edge, you know? I don't want to try and break my edge. Do you think MFFU live account is really live or still demo? I think it's actually live. If it's still demo, then I guess they'd be running technically a Ponzi scheme, which that would suck. Yeah, I guess Fahrenheit. What the fees are? Yeah, I don't know, Ken. I think there's a live trader fee, which I think is like $300, and then I don't know. I don't know what other fees there are, but the payout cap is unfunded, correct? Once you are in live, there's no cap, correct? Absolutely correct, Laura. Just in funded. By the way, I know this is your first stream, Laura. I just want to say welcome. Sorry that today is going to be talking about like the updates to MFFU. MFFU is kind of like the prop firm of choice for PM. Obviously, Apex is what Ryan deals with, but we talk about MFFU in here an awful lot. And today they had like a pretty big update, so I'm just trying to fill everyone in. But yeah, welcome. Thanks for joining PM. Quick recap again, how you're going to dodge the transition to live. So yeah, what I did is I just blew the account before the 30 days Fahrenheit. I had 4 payouts, and I took 2 last month, 2 this month, and then I just blew it. 4 payouts is the... No. 4 payouts isn't the max. You can take 5 payouts, but you just have to make less than 6K. The problem is I messed up. I messed up the timing. I should have been taking a payout every 5 days to be able to get that 5th payout, but I just messed it up. Because I like was trying to build a buffer at first, and then on like I think it was like the 7th day is when I took the first payout. So I should have taken a payout at the 5th day and just like, whatever. So I ended up leaving a lot of profit behind in those accounts. I left like literally like, I don't know, like a good $3,000 in there that I just couldn't withdraw. It was just stuck in there. So that sucked. But it was gone no matter what. It was either going to go into it was either going to disappear when I got pushed to live, or it was going to disappear whether or not I blew the account. So to me, it's no different. It's just, it'll be different next time when I request, because this is like the farthest I've gotten, because I haven't intentionally ever gotten this far. Normally what I'll do is I'll just like not build a buffer. I'll like request like as much as I can, leave myself with like, $300 or $400 remaining. If I blow the account at that point, so be it. But even after, no. It's 30 days of profit or 6K in payouts. The 5 payouts thing is only if you take 5 max payouts. But I could take like 4 max payouts, and then like the 5th payout is like $1,000 or something, and not get transitioned. Only if you're trying to do what I do, Yuki. If you want to be like an actually like good trader and not like try and game the system, then like do what you got to do, But this is just what I do, because it's basically like taking advantage of the leverage that sim funded accounts create. That's about it. This probably is something that Apex would get pissed off about if I did it with them, but MFFU is way more chill. My account balance is 56K after 5 winning days. Yeah, so like Rizu, the problem is with your scenario is you're gonna have a lot of extra money in that account if you have like a starter or starter plus. If you're on an expert, you can withdraw that balance. But on starter and starter plus, you're gonna end up like leaving a lot of balance. Yeah, so that's the problem. You can't do that. You can't like make too much money on starter and starter plus accounts, or else it's just gonna be gone. Like, I guess what you could do is you could just make the minimum from now on. Like, you have a nice big buffer. You could just make 5 days of $100 profit and request the 1,200 each time. But what's your consistency on those? What do you mean? Like, how often, like, I try and like game this? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, for sure, Rizu. Yeah. Where's the micro explanation you were talking about? Yeah, I got you. So instead of 10 to 1 like it used to be, it's now 5 to 1. So every single time you make like 1,000 or below $1,000 profit, you only get 1 mini or 5 micros. From 1,000 to 2,000, it's 2 mini or 10 micros, and 2,000 and up, it's 3 minis or 15 micros. So that's all I'm talking about. This is when you get to sim funded on the core accounts. No, Aegis, they haven't. I've never received anything like that with like Apex. Okay, Yuki. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Fahrenheit, exactly. Yeah, you can't go in with 9 micros. Why not 10 to 1? I don't know. That's just what they've changed. Guess a mini it is. Guess so. Okay, so for this 1 minute long, it ended up being a break even. Maybe you scale for 8 points, but usually I don't scale at anything less than like 10. And we're just starting to chop here, which makes sense. We always get our move before PM and then we chop. So you know, it is what it is. Maybe we'll see this 3 minute end up playing out, coming off the 15-minute gap. Can't scale with the 5 micros? Sure you can. You scale 3 at the first TP, 1 at the second TP, 1 at the third TP. There you go. Then you make 2R like every trade after the scales. Or you do 2 at the first TP, 2 at the second TP, 1 at the third TP. Whatever. I actually usually trade with 5 micros. So this is actually, it's not going to really affect me too much, but sometimes there'll be trades that I take where like it's like 8 micros because it's only 10 points of risk or whatever. But yeah, I'm interested now. Now that you guys have kind of heard my side of the story, how do you guys feel about MFFU now after the update? Are you guys still gonna like try to use them, or do you think maybe it's best to switch to a new prop firm? Not a huge fan. Okay, for sure, for sure, for sure, Tommy. I got you. Yeah, I can try to do that, Pale Boy. My only thing is like, what's the alternative, Tommy? Okay, you go with Apex. You know how Apex is. TPT. Okay, so TPT is now the best. Would you guys say that before MFFU was better? Alpha's better. Okay, so yeah, I'll do some research. For me, I've heard a few things about Alpha. I haven't done I guess enough research to figure out what is like the appeal, right? Like I don't really know anything about them, so um yeah, for sure. I don't know. For me, what I love about MFFU isn't necessarily like it really just depends on the trader, right? I like that with MFFU they've been always very beginner friendly, and it's like you have to do the bare minimum to request a payout, right? So like I just treat it as like okay, this is like almost like my salary, and then on other accounts I can treat it like like my bonus, right? Like I'll risk more, but like when I'm only risking 250 per trade on MFFU, it's perfect because that's all I have to do in order to request a payout. For these other firms, it's like oh you have to make $3,000 profit just to get to the buffer, and then you have to make another 1,500 to request a max payout. It's like okay, I'm not doing all that. Like there's just no way at this point Apex is even like in the picture as like a good firm for requesting payouts and that kind of thing. If you take a payout with Alpha, your max draw isn't moved at all. Okay, wait, that's kind of fire. Yeah, for sure, Tommy. Yeah, so maybe I'll try out Alpha and TPT because I've heard good things about TPT. I haven't really heard too much about Alpha. I'll look into them. If I think that the ROI is worth it, then maybe I'll get some of those going. If I can get a payout, maybe I'll start promoting it and we can do like giveaways, and maybe I'll get an affiliate so you guys can get discounts on it or whatever. But for now, I'm gonna stick with MFFU because I don't know. MFFU still seems like a decent option. At least like especially if you're somebody who's like building a trade copier, it's not like you're buying an elite trader funding account or like whatever. $80. Okay, so just around MFFU's pricing too. Okay, so they're like direct competitors. That's interesting. Okay, yeah. Let me take a look. Let's see what Alpha Futures prop firm. Is it Alpha Traders, Alpha Futures? Is that it? Okay. 1,500 or 15K. Wow. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. So we ran this. Yeah, payroll. My code is just reliable. It's right here. So okay, we just dumped. Holy shit! What just happened? Okay, for sure, JS. Long here? I don't know. Maybe. Bomble doesn't like the conversation about prop firms. Bomble, do you trade with props or no? Maybe 3 minute Apex. Gotcha. Okay. So you're hearing this stuff about MFFU. You're like, just shut up, dude. I just want to hear you trade. All right. We go down. We go up. News. I don't know. I'm keeping an eye on Financial Juice. I haven't seen anything. 15-second looks interesting. I don't know. This kind of looks like we came up here, swept the high, and now we're getting ready to short, but I don't know. Manipulation, we held the 1 minute. Okay. Oh, yeah, the 2 minute gap. Did we hold that? Okay, yeah, we still have the 2 minute intact. That's what sent price up. So, yeah, you're right. We're in good. We're in good hands. Is there like a good singular candle inverse here for us? It's like basically the 3 minute or the 30 second. But we're running into a bunch of gaps above it, so probably not the 30 second. 2 minute, it's not singular. So 3 minute it is, I guess. So we'll wait. By the way, did you guys see the... Oh, we haven't even talked about this morning's trades. Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, we're done with the prop firm conversations for now. I think the 3 is better. But yeah, when we get an opportunity here, if price starts to chop again, we'll talk about this morning's trades. I'll kind of talk to you guys about what I took, what my one-on-one person took, and then just the SMR at the bottom there. That was pretty nice. Okay, so we're about to get this 30-second here. We also have a 1 minute. We got the 30-second. Obviously not taking this. 2 minute low key. Yeah, I guess we have to take the 2 minute because now the 3 minutes probably too small, right? Oh, well. I mean, how many points is this? 7. In context, it's not the best. Like, contextually, does this gap really stick out? Not really. Wait, what? No, don't say that. Jerome didn't resign, bro. Stop baiting. What? Wait, no. No. No, he didn't. He didn't. No, that hasn't come out. There's no news about that yet. You guys are baiting me. Okay, we have this 3 minute here. 2 minute has an inversed. Why am I getting baited by my chat right now? What is going on? Yeah. It's a room revert. It looks like. Wait, wasn't Vert the one that baited me last time about something? Or was that somebody else? We had like news come out and somebody said something. I just can't remember. All right, well, no inverse. Would you take this 3 minute? Sure. I would have preferred to get it on this candle close, but we still have 20 seconds. 2 minutes more obvious for sure. It's series versus singular. Ooh, we're gonna get it. I hope we get the OB. I want the OB. I think. I guess it's okay. I don't know. I think because the 2 minute didn't close above, I'm gonna wait. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really love how it closed. Like it came up, came above the gap, then came down. It specifically didn't close over the 2 minute there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, technically, order flow is still bullish, so you don't have to wait. But it's like, why not when we're like getting this much manipulation? Like, when do you ever see an inverse like this? Now it feels like you're just longing in premium. How do you calculate the risk? It's just 7 points. It's just like, okay, entry here, stop if we close back below. And then hard stop all the way at the low. But yeah, I don't know. Like you could start a starter position here, and I wouldn't hate it. Add to it once the 2 minute gets closed above. I saw this really interesting comment from like a hedge fund manager the other day. He was like, "I throw money at everything. I won't throw world shaking, earth shattering money at it, but if it's something that like sounds interesting from the start, I'll throw money at it, and then I'll do my research on it because there will be there will be times where like if you wait and you do research for 2 weeks to a month to 3 months or whatever, you'll end up missing out on the move. You'll miss out on all this profit, and then it's really hard psychologically to enter something when you're like when you've already missed it and you're waiting for that pullback, that retrace, and it just never comes, right? So I always enter with some size, and then after I do the research, that's when I either add to it or I sell. Like, isn't that interesting? Like, we can kind of apply that to trading. Like if there's an inverse that we kind of like, but it's like on the cusp of being good, maybe we throw a couple micros on it. That way we don't miss the move. And then once we get like the confirmation that's like, oh, okay, this is really our play. This gave me the confidence to go up. We actually have our market structure shift, whatever. I'll add to my position, right? So that's kind of the idea here. We enter the 3 minute inverse a little bit, and then we go, okay, we get the 2 minute, bang, I'll add to my full position. You were gonna get out if it disrespect the no, just the IFEG, the OB, whatever. But yeah, like I guess like if that's the premise, might as well. I guess we're still basically at the entry, you know. Maybe I'll backtest that. Maybe that's something I try as like a strategy on my own before I mention it here. But I'm not gonna be like dodgy and like hop up on stage and start taking shorts on the 5K live account in front of everyone. Um, is 23,228 a bad rate? Yeah, that's what I'm looking at for break even. But yeah, it looks like we're gonna get the 2 minute here, so I'll be in. 13 seconds. Does it matter that we left three swing lows below? Nah, it doesn't. Because order flow is bullish. I mean, we're kind of building up LRLR, but not really. I guess there's the inverse. I guess break even at the highs there. Why don't I like Apex? Oh, because you have to build a massive buffer to request a payout. I don't really like that. Do we have an inception gap here? Not really, no. Just more to confirm. Uh-oh, we're running into one of Vert's trend lines. Uh-oh. Am I not worried about the 2 minute on the left? I think we inversed it, right? Yeah. Oh, you mean this one here? No, not really. Because this is V-shape. So we should just go up to that next high. That's our neutral point, and then, break even. If it fails, it fails. It's not like the most amazing inverse at all. This is like an A setup for sure. It's not an A plus. Because like this is not what a typical inverse looks like, I don't think. It's like almost like long and premium. So we got the next 15-minute candle here. Every single 15-minute has been like a doji. I don't really like that we came up and then it closed over this previous high on the oh, never mind, that's just on micros. On NQ we did. We should be okay. Just gotta be patient. Your stop loss closed 2 minute or 3 minute combined? I think the 2 minute. Oh wait, that's a good question. Is it a close below the 3 minute combined or the 2 minute? I think just the 2 minute. But we'll see. If it's just a close below by a tick, maybe I'll wait for the 3 as well. If it's an obvious close back below, I'll probably just stop out on the 2. Where do you put your hard stop? I have it like here. Like price shouldn't. Oh, we have triple equal lows on the 30-second. They don't matter. Like here. Am I in this? Yeah, I'm in this. A plus. It's like an A setup. Would I go break even at the new high? Isn't that like our entry? No, because this new high doesn't tell us anything about order flow. So nah, I just wait. Unless like maybe if you're in from like the 3-minute entry, you might be in good enough shape to go break even. Honestly, I don't know how far away would that be. Oh no, that's not even 10 points. Nah, just wait. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the other bad thing about this could be that, ES hit its high of day already, so we're kind of dealing with like a SMT type scenario. Or not a high of day, but like, New York session high, whatever. I mean, I like that price closed back above this. We now have a prop lock, so it should just go. But sometimes when we get these like 3 drives types patterns, price really struggles. So I'm just kind of hoping, we just do our thing. This trade's like watching paint dry? Yeah, for now. Until it's not. Is this 1-to-1 to the high or no? Oh, it is. Marwin, is this a good enough stop loss? Oh, we're basing it off the 2. Never mind. No, it's not. Yeah, okay, so if you're in off the 3, you could take profit at the high. If you're in off the 2, you gotta wait for this target. I guess. Not full TP, obviously, just partials or whatever. Hey, how many of you guys are in this? One. Alright, so quick little PM banger. That's number 2 on the day. Why not? Break even there. Target the next high. Hopefully we start accelerating, close over this gap to the left. That could be good. We had a little bit of a drought in trades. Now we've gotten 2 today already, so that's good. Took your trades for the day just watching and learning? Absolutely, Odie. Sure. I'll do that. Yeah, I'm still holding. My first TP is going to be in my thing, and then I'm going to hold a runner past it. Try and target maybe up here. 100 points, why not? Maybe that's unrealistic, but might as well. You're holding for 23,285. I want to hold for 314, so you tell me, Ben. On-field 15-minute target. Yeah, we could hold for 280. Yeah, Ben, if you're going to hold for 285, you should just hold for 280 there because that 15-minute could send us lower. All-time highs of the move could be coming off the daily for sure. Let's see if we get this 3-minute/5-minute inverse to the left here. We didn't get the 5, obviously. put in the breaker now, which is a good sign. So now we have a breaker plus an OB. In 5 more minutes or 4 more minutes, we'll get a unicorn model here. 4-hour Sibi incoming. Oh, true. That's our target. Yo, how did I miss this? Okay, so yeah, this is our draw. This just formed at 2, that's why. So yeah, once we hit this 4-hour, you should scale everything besides a runner. And then gauge that reaction. If that reaction's bearish, get out. TP 1 hit, so we hit 1R. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, if you want to TP there, be my guest, but I'm just going to hold full until the 4-hour. Wow, this just played out beautifully. I'm watching SMTs here too. No SMT yet. Always TP a couple ticks before or a point or so before. You know, that's what I usually do. That way, you know, if it just barely misses or whatever, you're not going to, you know, risk all your move for a few ticks extra profit. At this point, you know, we might see some consolidation waiting for the 5-minute gap to put in. You know, maybe we pull back, tap into this, and then go. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully we just rip up here and hit final TP before that happens. All right, Damo, catch you tomorrow. You only holding one runner? Yep, only one runner because it's a 4-hour bearish gap. I don't know what kind of reaction that's going to be. An higher time frame usually gives a bearish reaction. Hell yeah, Braden. So yeah, no, if you guys want to be scaled here, go for it. You know, it's definitely more than 1R at this point. You know, we hit this internal high here, so that's a good break even or good scale spot. We hit a 30-second high inside the fair value gap. Those were our devil's mark. That's what I wanted earlier. So, yeah, definitely up to you. I think if we're pulling back right now, it's because we created inefficiencies below here. So we have this 3-minute gap that we created. We have this 5-minute. So we want to gauge the reaction that we have to those gaps. Hopefully it's just, you know, an IO fed and we just head right back up. No. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, at least it was still a dub trade, boy, for sure. Okay, so is today a W day? Even after that first L? Okay, for sure. You faded that 1 minute? Hell yeah, Vert. Yeah, for me, sometimes I'll take non-significant inverses if the order flow is already established. The only time I'm looking at taking the like significant gap is when we're looking for that SMR. So we have a little SMT at this high here. I don't think it should matter. The SMT that's going to matter here is going to be the one that happens at the extremity. So just keep an eye on that. Here's the next 5-minute gap about to get put in. So that got created. We might see price pull back to that because it's a, what's it called? Conflicting draw. But hopefully not. Okay, I just got TP'd there. We have an SMT, so be careful. I literally top ticked that. All right, and now we can maybe market sell the runner when we hit the 4-hour. Good idea to trail stops to break even point. Yeah, I mean, do what you gotta do. My stop is still at the original entry. Do I want to cut here? That was a pretty bearish reaction. ES just took out its highs. I'm a bitch out. I'm cutting. I don't care. That's a dub. Whatever happens, happens. I don't care. We could pull back to this 5 minute and get a re-entry on the runner. I don't really care. Is what it is. Lost out on an extra $10, but who cares? If it runs, it runs. So be it. Hooray! We got a win! Woohoo! Yay! Yay! Bang! Pavel. Why'd everyone cut? Pretty bearish reaction, SMT. We have an unfilled 5 minute below. It's a conflicting draw, so I'm scared. Oh, also we're reacting to a 4 hour bearish gap, so higher time frame gaps usually give us a decent reaction. So how many points is that today? We got in that first move we got 35. No, sorry. Yeah, 35. In the second move we got 30. So 65 points on the day. Alrighty. What was my entry? Yeah, I got in at the 3 minute. 2 minute was the entry. Okay, now we can finally talk about the AM trees. Wait, Ozzy Osbourne died? What? Bro, stop baiting. Don't. Damn, he did. Carlos, did you take that? Gave you the retrace and everything, dude. Yeah, he died. All right, well, we have now a new 15 minute candle forming here. And, a new 5 minute gap here, so now it's no longer singular. We could take a look at like 50% maybe for a retrace, because nope, doesn't align with nothing, so never mind. Alrighty, what'd you guys think of this trade now that it's played out? Was this a good trade? EJ, you missed 2 trades today. EJ. Yeah, 65 points on the day so far. I held pretty much the entire position to full TP here, so this was 1.5R on the trade. I'm up about 300 per account. Yeah, Baker, that's perfect. That's what we were just talking about. Possible for macro to send us higher? Absolutely. I think if we come down, tap the 5 minute, get a nice IO-Fed reaction, we could definitely see higher here. I'm just a little bit nervous about where ES is at compared to NQ and the 4 hour bearish gap and the fact that we have an SMT there. Okay, Sammy, sounds good. What did I think of the 3 minute? I thought it was decent. I entered. I think you can wait for the 2 for extra confirmation there. I didn't really love how the 2 minute closed below, you know, on that initial 3 minute inverse. But I liked how it was singular. And like I said, you know, order flow didn't really ever switch bearish here. So you didn't have to wait for that SMR. And whenever that's the case, you can just take that first, you know, obvious entry. The 15-second was the play. Yeah, I mentioned the 15-second, but we don't take the 15-second entries. You guys remember when I said the 15-second, right? Okay. Yeah, I was like, well, there's the 15-second. It looks pretty good, right? But then I said, oh, we have a bunch of gaps above, though, so it's not really worth it, right? That was like my comment. Because you're running into a 1 minute when you take the 15-second entry. So it's like, okay, you might as well wait. But yeah, I mean, going off this idea that order flow is still bullish, you could technically enter there on the 15-second. I just don't do that personally because I haven't really backtested the 15-second time frame. I've only really looked into it whenever we sweep the extremity of the range. I know it's good then, but during the middle of the range like this, I don't really know. Look at that 1 minute. Yeah, for me, it was this 2 minute. Remember earlier, Vert, when I said, like, which gap is going to determine order flow? Yeah, it was this gap, right? So, just, isn't that crazy? Like, dude, it's like I'm a fortune teller, dude. I just sit here with my crystal ball. I'm like, did I take the trade of the previous one? Okay, so EJ, let me tell you what happened with the previous one. So, we had this 1 minute inverse, and I took it, and it lost instantly. Or wait, no, which one was it? It was this one, sorry. It was this one here, and it lost instantly. And then I re-entered on the 30-second, and it ended up being a win, and I sold all here because I was like, I want to go eat lunch. And then I was like, in chat, I was like, okay, this is fire. Like, if you guys see this, you know, you guys know how to fish. Do what you got to do. It's an A setup, right? And then, like, everyone took it. So I wasn't in this because I was literally eating when this happened. But, you know, it was during lunch and, you know, whatever. And then this one I did take. You saw my executions there for that, so. Which gap is going to determine order flow? Can you please explain that more? Yeah, for sure. So it's going to be the gap that's sending price higher, right? Or it's going to be the gap that, like, is respected for a large historical period of time, right? Yeah, I thought this was a good loss too. The main reason why, EJ, that I wasn't looking for this low to be swept is because we continued to hold this 5 minute gap. Do you see how many times price held this 5 minute? So this is like a very significant gap. Whoever just asked about order flow forever. This gap is going to tell you a lot about price, right? Because it's like battle tested, right? Like we hold the gap a significant number of times. And so because this is like our support or whatever, right? This is what like support and resistance traders would use as a support. This is what's going to, like, you know, basically tell you, okay, order flow is still currently bullish because we're respecting bullish PD arrays. As long as bullish PD arrays are being respected, then you know that price is still bullish. When they become disrespected, that's when you know it becomes bearish, right? The 4 and 3 minute was the gap to use. The 3 minute got disrespected here. The 4 minute got disrespected here. Because you're in between. So the reason why we're not neutral, I mean, maybe on the lower time frame, sure, but I'm always going to reference the higher time frame and then align with that on the lower time frame. So we had the daily bullish gap here, and then, you know, price goes neutral at the daily bullish gap, which allows you to then, you know, switch, and you can go, okay, now I look at lower time frame order flow. What are we doing on the lower time frame? Okay, we're respecting bullish PD arrays here. So here's price respecting bullish PD arrays. And then we're starting to disrespect here with this 5 minute. And then, you know, this is another bullish PD array that's significant because it set price to a higher high. So now this gap is like, what's our tell? And so as long as we're holding this, you know, order flow is still bullish. And then, now it's this gap because it's set price to a higher high. So, like, if you just do that over and over again, you just follow the significant gap up. A hard stop would save that, though. Oh, yeah. Like on the 1 minute? Yeah, for sure. So the reason why I re-entered here on this 30-second entry is because we held the SMT and we held the 5-minute gap, right? Like that never broke. And then, obviously the 5-minute entry there was just like the play. I think you just gotta like it. Yeah, like it's not an 100% win rate strategy, right? It's like 70 to 80, right? So like, you're gonna win 4 out of 5 times. Sometimes you're gonna lose. That was a loss, right? It is what it is. Yeah, I know, right? And that tells you like, how algorithmic prices vert. Like this is literally like market makers at play here. Like that's ICT working out in live time. No, shorts aren't a good play until, we disrespect what we just talked about, right? We disrespect a significant gap that's holding price up, that's, controlling order flow. Right now it's that 2 minute, but if we make a higher high out of this 5 minute, it actually becomes this 5 minute. So if we got like this 5 minute short, yeah, that's a decent play, right? Because we're coming off of a 4 hour bearish higher time frame gap and we're disrespecting a lower time frame order, like significant gap that's based on order flow, right? And then if we hit this gap and we form a breaker here and we soup this high, well, then there you go. There's your SMR. But usually we will only see an SMR take place if we, um, complete like a market maker model, which like right here, I mean, I guess we have like the market maker model here, right? Like, I don't know. The breaker, it hasn't formed yet, Nat Krish, but basically we can look at a breaker, like right now, like we're staring one dead in the face. I just want to see if there's something more obvious. Not really. Okay, but here, this 5 minutes a breaker because it's a bearish order block that gets re-inversed to the upside. So that's a failed OB. For 50% off, yeah, and then it's 15 every other time. So there's the actual final TP with the 4 hour. So now we've tapped it. Depending on our reaction to this high, will kind of tell us whether or not price is going to continue to rip up here. So for those of you holding a runner, watch this reaction. If we get like a super bearish reaction here and like violate this 1 minute, I'd probably cut. Runners to where? Like, I don't know. You could hold to like here, 314.75. So yeah, ES has officially hit high of day. So now like we have an SMT at high of day, which like the external SMTs are going to be the ones that matter the most. So this is still like I'd be concerned if I was on a play here. But obviously haven't started disrespecting bullish PD arrays yet. Why was the 2 minute series better than the 3 minute? It wasn't. I thought like, it just adds extra confirmation, right? It just gives you more confidence in the play working out. That's about it. It's more so for psychology for some people, right? Like they see like more bearish gaps getting disrespected. They feel better about the trade. For me, it's more just about like watching liquidity, watching, price's reaction to it and seeing that kind of play out in lifetime. When they see like what some people like to see is they like to see price kind of like use inverses as support. And so like whenever we see price like create the inverse and then we kind of dip down, like test the inverse and then come back up, like that gives people confidence in the trade. That's why some people like are retest inverse traders. But for me, like what I'm focusing on more so is just like, okay, is order flow good? Okay, is liquidity good? Okay, sick. You're still in? No, I'm out. I'm fully out. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that as my profit. I had a nice win in the morning. I had a nice win right now. So I'm good. Oh, yes. Okay, finally we can talk about this morning because we're kind of chopping now. All right, so this morning we had London highs, turtle soup, and then Judah swing down. I was here for all this, right? So we had the LRLR. I wanted to see price come down to, you know, this gap. If we blasted through this gap, I would want to see this low get hit, and then everything broke. So once I saw price kind of like speed past this point, I was like, oh, okay, so we're just going to go for like the daily gap. And so what I was looking at was, okay, what gaps supported price in this initial move up, and is there going to be any roadblocks in the way? Okay. So if you look here, you can see that all these inverses that happened after the fact were all like, there's a bunch of roadblocks in the way. And I wasn't sure if they were ever going to be used to, like, you know, send price back up. For example, here when we come down and run this low, and then there's kind of a bullish reaction here. But once I saw price violate this 5-minute gap that initially sent price up here, and we had 0 roadblocks to the left here, I chased a short when we inverse this. And then we dumped. We hit the daily gap. That's where I took profit. And then I was watching for a reversal, because usually when we hit higher time frame bullish gaps, like a daily or a 4-hour time frame, we get a nice little 50 to 80 point move. Where do you put the stop loss? So it was a 1-to-1 chase. So the idea here is I was trying to target 40 points, and my stop loss was about 40 points. So my stop loss would be if we close back above this, you know, 1-minute gap in series, whatever, paired with the OB, because we shouldn't violate this, right? So if my entry's like here, stop loss would be about there. Okay. And then for this SMR, we had an SMT at the low. I don't remember if it was this low or this low, whatever it was, but there was an SMT. Then, so that's like our turtle soup. Then we have our OB. Then we have our breaker and our FEG. Okay. So here's perfect textbook unicorn model play out right here. Okay. There's no IFEG here, but if there was an IFEG, this would be where I enter. And then, you know, just target this high, target 50%, target whatever, right? What I liked also was, as a play, was this continuation entry. So we already had the SMR play out. Unfortunately, there wasn't an IFEG, but now we can take continuation plays. So when we see price form this 30-second here, and then we form a 5-minute below here, okay? Price comes down, taps into the 5-minute, we get a nice bullish reaction. Where am I? Oops. Okay, we get a nice bullish reaction. Light bulb candle here, enter, break even, target 50%, right? So this was a good play. This is what Paul took in the one-on-one. And then, yeah, rest of the day was just chop. And Paul got super unlucky. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the play, there was like this moment in price where like we dipped down to like 204. I think it was like here. But on micros, we dipped down like 10 extra points. So that was like stupid. But yeah, basically this trade was, it was a continuation play. So we come down, tap into the 5-minute, and then we get light bulb candles here. So this is very strong momentum, inversing a significant gap. So here's your significant gap that sent price lower. And then you're just targeting this for your break even. And then you're just targeting 50% of the move from 930 till the low there, obviously. And then all this was chop, all this was chop, all this was chop. And then we get like the setups that we took during PM. That's basically it. What time frame for LRLR do you consider? So there's, just like with equal highs, how there's different hierarchy for that. It's the same thing with LRLR. There's different hierarchy there as well. And so like I'll take LRLR that's like on the lower time frame, and I'll pair that with like a lower time frame inverse, and then I'll look at the higher time frame for like higher time frame LRLR, like the 15-minute plus, and I'll try and pair that with like a 5-minute or higher gap, right? What did I rate the 1018 30-second? That was an A+ setup. Yeah. 30-second revenge trade was play of the day for me. Yeah, for sure. Welcome back, Seb. All right, so here's 3 o'clock. We're still pumping, so really good sign for those of you still in a runner. For those of you that cut, who's feeling FOMO? Anyone have FOMO yet? Hell no, nope. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're just chilling. This is still what I'm working on, guys. You know, I don't really know when it's best to... What? What is this? Do you guys see that? What is that? Okay. Anyway, um, I'm still working on my exits. Like, it's like I'm struggling between the balance of like figuring out psychology and figuring out logic, and like here I feel like logic is like, okay, we have a lot of bearish confluences all aligning at the same time, and we have an SMT at high of day, so I don't want to try and hold for like a home run here, right? And I'm also trying to pair that with like, okay, will I get FOMO if this ends up being a home run? With my exits, like the way I understand it right now, I want to continue to target areas in price where there's going to be a lot of orders. And like right now, I don't really see an area where there's like a lot of inefficiencies, or areas where there's like really good liquidity, right? So that's why I'm not holding a runner here. Like, I guess you could target this high because everyone that went short here has their stop here. But like, that's the only reason why I'm targeting, this high potentially. But then you have to like think about it like this too. Okay, I have 1,000,001 roadblocks in the way before I get to that point. I have to get through a 4 hour. Is that realistic for what's about to happen during the rest of PM session? Or is this maybe something that's going to hit maybe overnight or tomorrow? So that's kind of where I'm at as far as like exits go, and you know, like what's making sense to me. To me, it doesn't really make sense. So that's why I'm like I'm out. But you know, if we would have like got past this high and just started blasting up, I would have been like all over this. But because we started to chop after we hit this high, that's why I'm like not that interested. Because like to me, it's like okay, it becomes more of a realistic idea for us to hit this high if we start to like blast up. But yeah. Should we play an outro song today? Should we play Crazy Train? I think it's the only right thing to do. Is it silly for me to still hold all my position? All of it? Yes. Absolutely. I think you should definitely cut like 80% of it. If you want to hold a runner, go for it. But yeah, holding your whole position is just like crazy. But not financial advice. Do what you got to do. Yeah, absolutely, Pale Boy. 1428 is that candle in OB. Sure. I guess. This candle is 1424. This candle kind of is. You have to combine these two. It's a 2-minute OB. So yeah, I guess. What about 5 minutes short? Yeah, that's a play. I don't know how realistic it is. But why wouldn't you leave one micro to hit the 314 when you only lose 40 if it gets stopped out? Because I wasn't losing just 40. I was gonna lose 60, and that's copy traded over like 5 accounts. So that's like $300. I'm gonna leave on the table. It's like 55 or something. But yeah, I mean, with that kind of thinking, sure, you can balance the risk to reward. 40 bucks risk here to target an extra. I don't know, what would that be? 60 points, so 120. Like that's valid reasoning for sure. But you have to pair that with like risk to reward. What is the percentage chance that this happens? you need that to work at least 1/4 of the time. I don't know if this is going to work 1/4 of the time. Maybe this works only 10% of the time. How many trades do you take per week on average? 5 to 8. Today I took like all my trades for the week. I took one morning and then like 2 afternoons. So yeah, I took a lot of trades today. But yeah, for those of you that didn't see it, because we were spamming the chat during lunch, I just wanted to show you, for transparency's sake, this was that MFFU calendar before I blew the accounts for the month of July. The last withdrawal hasn't come in yet, but yep, they're gone. I had to on purpose. So what I did is I had two accounts that were at 27 days, and then I had another account that's at 22 days. This is the picture of the calendar for that, right? It's that 22-day, what's it called, thing, and I'll have to blow this one too eventually. But the two accounts that were at 27, I had to blow because I'll get pushed to live otherwise. Went on tilt on the 7th. I think it was more Sammy like it was like a day like today where like I took the morning trade. Okay, that's 2 trades because the entry and the exit. Okay, I took the first loss here. Okay, that's 2 trades, the entry and the exit. I took 2 losses here, or I took a win here. Okay, that's 2. That's up to 6 trades already. And then I entered this trade and I had 2 exits. So that's 9 with the entry and the 2 exits. But yeah, is there a reason you don't want to be pushed to live? Yeah, because you have less leverage on live. So I'm trying to take advantage of the most amount of leverage I can for the longest period of time. You go from having basically 45 micros of risk to 20 micros. So you get twice as much leverage while being on sim funded. Why is MFFU not accounting for one of my wins on Tradeovate? Did it happen today? It probably just hasn't updated yet. Yeah, you just gotta wait until the end of the day. It'll update all then. The other reason why I don't want to be pushed to live is because you have to pay like associated fees, like all that. Seb, I actually had a conversation about that like earlier in the stream, so it was about like 30 minutes long. If you want to take a look at that, no, you're good. I know some people in here don't really like hearing about it too much. I think it was like 30 minutes in or 45 minutes in, something like that. But yeah, I know it's a little bit bug swig. Like in the calendar, the payout hadn't updated for me either. The one that I just took. So how did you exit on the trade days that say 1 trade? Good question. I don't know. I think that calendar's kind of bugged profitable. Cause like it says I took a 1 trade today, which it should count the entry and the exit. I guess I took 10 different trades. Yeah, dude, I went on full tilt actually. But yeah, I don't know. Is that the day I really want to get the payout? That might have been what it was. Maybe it was like, wait, oh yeah, it's the day before the payout. Oh, okay. So yeah, I know what happened. Um, what probably happened is I was trying to hunt for the last like few dollars or whatever with like 1 micro, and I was like getting break even or like barely missing or something, whatever happened. Because I probably took a win in the morning, and then I was trying to chase or get the fan on the last one or whatever it was. Or maybe I took 2 wins or I don't remember what happened. But anyway, yeah, I'm probably just a degenerate. So that's probably what it is. But yeah, no, that makes sense because I took the payout the next day. So yeah, good analysis there. Profitable. You think your runner's cooked? Yeah, probably. Because we broke the 1 minute. But what I was gonna say is, this is just like proof for you guys that are like, um, wondering like how could you like get out of your current situation financially. That's how you do it. You don't have to be doing too much. Just the bare minimum base hits every single day. You don't have to have a 100% win rate. Clearly, I don't. Just good risk management. $2,400 per account. Multiply that by however many accounts you want for scaling purposes, for just increasing your leverage, and every once in a while take a nice payout. There you go. Whenever you use Trade Sinker, Pale Boy, I would use Replicanto because I've heard Trade Sinker has issues. One of my friends uses it, and he says that it's the worst decision he ever made buying it because it doesn't copy all of his trades. Like sometimes like accounts just won't get like filled. But if you're having a good experience with it, then I guess keep doing your thing. Yeah, if you guys are having good experiences with Trade Sinker, just ignore me. It's just an anecdote, right? Maybe I'm like the outlier. It is a Moore. A Moore is the one who brought it up, and he's a Moore, so you know how that goes, right? Do you feel it difficult to execute a trade debate for your copy trades? No, very easy. Yeah, that guy, profitable. He has issues with Trade Sinker. Definitely a girl. Yeah, she's a girl. Yeah, yeah. 2025 or something dapper. I don't know. Swig, he bought his Twitter account. I mean, she bought his Twitter account. She bought her Twitter account. If we inverse the 50 minute, do you think we can hit the minor LRLR blow? What LRLR? Oh, you mean like this? I don't think it's really significant LRLR yet, but if we inverse the 5, yeah, I'll definitely be more bearish for sure. So do you guys see why I wanted to scale here? Like, I mean, it hasn't come back to the break even yet, but I'm already like, becoming concerned because look at what we're getting. We're getting the SMR, right? Soup, OB. If we form it in 5 minutes, breaker. We just need the inverse for the entry. Yeah, for sure, Nacho. I got you. For me, I do all my analysis on TradingView, and then I enter on the 1 minute chart. Yeah, you can also do that too. Yeah, you can create custom times, or Nacho. So if you go to like, if you go to custom time and you just click like, whatever you want. All right, Tommy. Catch you later. So there's the OB, SMR, breaker, soup. We hit high of day on ES, so it actually makes sense for us to start the next leg of the market maker model now. You know, just coming to the downside. Maybe we want to target this obvious wick low here for sell side. We just need the inverse for the entry, but I'm done for the day. So we can watch this play out, but I'm 2 for 2, so that's where I have to stop myself. When does the breaker become the breaker? At the close. Yep, at the close below the body. Wick body, it's up to you. You know, most of the time you're going to use the body because if it goes below the body, then like, you know, you want to use OBs that have bigger bodies than wicks anyway. And so this is like, okay, this is where the efficiently traded price action is. This is like the extremity. Yeah, exactly. Because like technically a wick is already technically efficiently traded PA. The body is what's not efficiently traded. But a wick, you can think of a wick as just like if you go in the lower time frame, it's a tiny BPR, right? So you want to focus on the inefficiently traded price action. Like if we were to go to this wick here on the 5-minute and go down to the 15-second, you're going to find a BPR, right? Can you explain a rejection block? Honestly, not really. I mean, I could try, but it's whenever we get like a wick, it takes out another wick, and then we get like a bullish candle or something, and then the first wick is like the block of officially traded orders, or I don't know. Can I point one out? Let me see. It's not really something that's like I've found great use in, so I just like don't really know how to teach it. But I can like look up real quick, like, okay, rejection block, ICT, and then just point it out and be like, okay, this is a rejection block. like, um, okay, I figured it out. A rejection block is a no, it's like the wick. So it's like this is a rejection block. It says price high forms with two long wicks on the highs of the candle. Okay, but that's for the buy side one. So a price low forms with two long wicks on the high or on the low of the candle. Okay, we have two long wicks. If we go to the 2-minute, for example, uh, distribution, whatever, right? So basically, like we form two long wicks. Price comes down, taps this. So really, it's like this whole thing, but you know, this is like your initial rejection block here, and then price comes down. We test it, and then we get sent higher, right? So we can look at that in like a different example too, where it's more like spread out. But yeah, a breaker is a failed OB, right? Yeah, exactly. Um, Here's kind of another one, but it kind of looks like it failed. But you can see here, price holds the rejection block, set lower with the bodies. Bodies tell the story. Uh, for those of you that like actually use rejection blocks, how am I doing? Does anybody here use rejection blocks? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't really find much use in them. Maybe they're useful to like identify areas where price shouldn't necessarily sweep liquidity, but like we kind of already know that based on order flow. So maybe I'll have somebody come in and teach a rejection block class. I guess kind of here is two, right? Like two long wicks. Price respects it with the bodies. I don't know. It's a moment to like where you can identify like a reversal, right? So here's where we reverse using a rejection block there. We almost did here. This was almost a rejection block here, but it only worked the first time. It actually ended up failing. So here's like a failed rejection block. We come up, hit the high, and then come back down. The reason why is because I think the draw on liquidity was the 4 hour here, so we needed to have price hit that first. That's why this rejection block failed, but it worked initially. Yeah, Dodgy's mentioned it. So yeah, I mean, when Dodgy mentions it more, and he like, I basically only know what you guys know based off of what Dodgy teaches. So when he starts teaching more about how rejection blocks can be used with IFGs, that's when I'll start to mention it more. Obviously, I come up with my own things. Like I've really emphasized like how to, use order flow related to IFGs and like the importance behind it and like why it's important, right? So that's kind of like my contribution to it. But as far as like the majority of like why IFGs work the way they do, like that's all Dodgy, right? And so like if he starts talking about rejection blocks, we'll talk about it. If he starts talking about like footprints, we'll talk about it, If he starts talking about breaker blocks, we'll talk about it. I'm still a student, same as you guys, right? I'm always learning, always trying to improve. He is my mentor at the end of the day, right? I'm taking only A plus and 6 Apex PAs, but it would take me forever to build a cushion. Any advice? I guess just be patient. I mean, did you take the trade today? Did you take both A plus setups today? I mean, maybe this was an A setup, but like the 5 minute long here was for sure A plus, and then, or maybe A. Actually, did I rate both of these A? I guess I rated both of them A. Maybe this was A plus, but yeah, if you took the 30 second, that was for sure A plus. So this setup today was A plus, and then whatever. So I guess my advice for you would be to, if you feel like you're not taking enough setups, and you feel like it's going to take too long to build a cushion, maybe evaluate why it's taking you so long, and if there's a reason why, like you're having analysis paralysis or you're avoiding like good setups, then maybe like figure out which rule is preventing that from happening, or maybe if it's psychology, figuring out what psychological issue you're happening and what trigger is causing that psychological issue, whether that's something that's going on, personally, or something that's having to do with the charts or whatnot. Take 30 seconds. Okay, so maybe that rule is something that you need to adjust because maybe you're missing out on too many entries. If the 30 second is causing you a psychological issue, then maybe you figure out why that's a specific psychological issue. You know? I hope that kind of steers you in the right direction. Yeah, maybe it's just you're super unlucky profitable. How's PM so far? You missed two trades. Not even trolling. We had you can see the setup we have right here, and then obviously you can see this one too. This happened before PM, but we talked about it in PM chat. Was there sarcasm in that? Nope. 100% serious. You'll just come tomorrow? Hell yeah. W psychology. 30-second during lunch too. Yeah, so there was these setups down here, but we'll forget about these setups. So we took a 1 minute loss and then we took a 30-second win, but it wasn't really an alert. This was an alert. This was an alert. So a lot of stuff going on today. Comments on this still at 49 days still at break even. Damn. That's actually crazy. I have no idea. I don't know what I've never seen that before. 49 days still at break even. I mean, I guess good job. You're not losing. I guess I would need like more context. Yeah, exactly. Not winning. Yeah, maybe take 1R. All right. So, we had our little specialty lunch session. We got our play. What do we think? Yeah, appreciate it, payroll. Got a couple payouts before that. Last 2 months, for sure, for sure. Yeah, no. If we still get questions flowing in or stuff, I'll keep answering stuff. Maybe we'll get off like 20 minutes early. I gotta go do some stuff. What did I have for lunch? We had. Oh yeah, we had KFC bowls. So my girlfriend made homemade KFC bowls. Wordle, okay. What do we think? Yo, how do we feel about fruit? I kind of like fruit. It gets rid of a lot of vowels. R in the second spot gives us the T. Yeah, for sure, payroll. We'll do. No, I'll definitely include that. I don't know. It didn't cross my mind. Okay, so we have maybe a Y, maybe I don't know. It could be like I think R's in the second spot, so it could be like that. No, U can't be there. So I do think it's RUT, but what's in the start? It could also be W. It could be like this. Is there a word here? Strut. Ooh. Ooh. Oh wait, there was no S. There was no S. No. I threw. I threw. Yeah. Burnt. Okay. There we go. So it wasn't. It threw me off because U wasn't in the right spot, and then yeah, obviously U has to be there in the second spot. R and T. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, that could have been better, but it's okay. Nah, it wasn't your fault, Ken. I didn't think. Normally I like, we'll call it out, but sorry for testing this model on paper yesterday and I've got so lucky. Yeah, that's usually how it works. No psychological component. Best fills. time to evaluate each trade. Part of the most difficult aspect of trading is like everything happens live. So like you can't sit there and like think about things. You know, it's just you got to kind of like commit, right? That's why doing your analysis beforehand is so helpful when you're like evaluating like okay, you know, what am I going to do based on what? That's why like for example, I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay guys, what is our gap that's going to tell us whether or not, you know, price becomes bearish, right? When we have that marked out this early in the stream and price comes back and we hold the gap, oh my gosh, that's perfect. We already have our analysis done beforehand. We don't have to think about, you know, oh, are we still bullish? Do we still have, are we still, is the order flow still good? We already know, right? So that's what doing earlier analysis allows us to do. That's what having our roadmap marked out allows us to do, right? Yeah, for sure, Nacho. Because like the point of that is like I'm trying to get you guys involved and like having you start to think like how I think so that you can go off and be profitable on your own without having to be here. On what time frame? It can be on any time frame, Valley. Just whichever one is the one that's the gap that's holding price up. So what you do is you just go down the time frames and evaluate, you know, gap by gap. You know, on the higher time frame you start, maybe you look at the hourly and go down, and then you go down to the 5 minute, and then you know go down from there for the lower time frame until you find it. And oh, there it is, 2 minute. But yeah, we'll do that tomorrow, Valley. You know, you can go back and look at today's when we were looking, just like review the stream, or you can just wait till tomorrow and we'll do it all over again. Figuring out what's our gap in live time. Paper trading on TradingView is cheeks though. It took me like 20 seconds to get filled this morning. Yeah, that sucks. Average top step X fill. Ooh, that's another problem with Top Step. You know, you can only trade on Top Step X. Was the order flow bearish from the 3 minute inverse at 150? Where? 150. No. No. Nah. Nah. Order flow was still bullish because this 2 minute gap was still holding. Because this. Okay, let me ask you this question. Did this gap in series send price to a higher high? Yeah, so no, it's not significant. We didn't. I mean, historically we didn't hold it, so no, it just doesn't have any significance. Plus, this 5 minute is still holding too. So if you're gonna evaluate order flow based on a swing, you're gonna want to wait till every single gap in that series on all time frames is inversed. And 15 minute held, and everything held. So no, yeah. Vert, you like the order flow thing. That's all you ask questions about now. A significant gaps and everything. So you don't have to take gaps as inverses that are significant. Uh, no, you can take significant and insignificant gaps. The only time, okay, remember, you're pairing it. SMR. If you're looking for a smart money reversal, you need the significant gap. If you don't need an SMR because order flow has already been established, you take the continuation. You don't need a significant gap. Well, the 2 minute we took wasn't significant, but it went with order flow exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that prevents you from taking like pointless bad inverses. Vert, the reason why he doesn't go over that is because it's mine. It's actually I came up with it. I mean, he kind of touches on it, but like I put the pieces together. I put together the puzzle. You've had over 10K in USD in total payouts now, but I revenge trade and blow accounts like all because I don't like my bias to be wrong. Sounds stupid, doesn't it? I really need help. Yeah, so that's just ego. You just have to kind of accept that like sometimes you'll be wrong, and like that doesn't matter, because like what's more important is, you know, just having a system that you follow. Your system trumps your ego. So significant gaps when order flow is neutral slash unknown, and non-significant when order flow is established. Exactly. I mean, or significant. It's even better. It's like an extra confluence. You just don't need the significant gap when order flow is, established. But like today, we had like, for example, what was the significant gap that we inversed? Like this one here. We've already established order flow is bullish here, but this gap is significant because we send price to a lower low. So inversing it is like an extra confluence. It's like, okay, we're already bullish, but now we're very, very bullish. Yeah, exactly, Vert. If that 3 minute sent us to a higher high, then we inverted it. Would we wait for the bearish gap? If the 3 minute sent us to a higher high. Yeah, just show me. If that higher high makes price neutral, then you wait for the significant gap to get inversed. If it doesn't make us neutral, then I don't think so, but I don't really know your question. Okay. Let's say this sent us to a higher high. Okay. So the original 3 minute that we talked about. And then we went lower and tapped the 2 minute. Okay. So this is what you do. No. So check this out. So if we make a higher high here, okay, where is our dealing range here? Right? Like if this is our significant gap, where does our dealing range start? Like what level to what level? Like here to here, right? Swing low to swing high. So if we create a significant gap here, and then we come down and inverse this dealing range is considered bearish order flow until we get to this, well, not this low, but this low, right? Because this is where price goes neutral again, right? And so here, order flow is bearish, and then once we get tapped the 2 minute, then it's neutral again. And then, once price is neutral, okay, then is this gap significant? That's the question. I guess at this point it becomes probably bad PA. Like, because if we, yeah, exactly. Like then when you take this 2 minute, yes, because the higher time frame aligns with a lower time frame, and you have a higher time frame draw above, like a significant higher time frame draw. If there's no unfilled 4 hour here, then probably not. Right, so once again it goes back to like the higher time frame. Like, here you're not going to take the lower time frame short here because the higher time frame order flow doesn't align. But now that it aligns here, okay. Yeah. But if you have a bad draw, then maybe not. But I guess we didn't have to worry about that today, so. It's almost like you could start a mentorship and make a course out of it. know I will. Guys, Vert is officially robbing my IP. All right, payroll. Have a good day. When you hold a runner, do you ever add to your positions with confirmation setups? Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be a good one though. It can't just be any like confirmation setup. It's got to be like, okay, we created a 5 minute. We IO fed the 5 minute. Okay, I'm in. Like, remember that like setup of the year that we got like the other day? It was like perfect A plus V shape right out of a 5 minute, like that type of confirmation setup. I'll add. I mean, hey, it's all ICT at the end of the day. So it's not technically anyone's info. It's all just like how good you're explaining it. That's the value proposition. Really, it's can you convey information, you know, to a point that people are able to understand it. If you can't really do that well, then where's your value? There's plenty of people out there that explain this stuff for free. For sure, for sure, for sure. SMT at the high here, by the way. So, who regrets taking profit when we initially did? Because could you imagine like sitting through this for another hour? Alrighty, well, unless anyone's got anything else or Vert wants to come up with his mastermind plan to get rich, I think that's gonna be it. What's going on, Baker? The video will be uploaded, right? Of course. Um, Absolutely or not, sure. Yeah, of course, Baker. Everything will be uploaded. So I think this was a good stream. Same with the last one. If you guys want like basically like a shit ton of info, like yeah, yesterday's stream and today's stream are like pretty much all you really need to like really get started with like getting past the simpletons of like ICT and IFGs. But yeah, um, I think I'll wrap it up here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday evening, and I'll catch all of you tomorrow for PM. Peace out, everyone.